desperate. Oh, here they come for a chance, for adventure. What's your poison? What's your pleasure? Oh, my city, she never sleeps. My city, she never weeps. My city, she keeps me alive. Give it up for my city. Oh, give it.
Hello, welcome to the Glean Network. We are going to talk about WWE Smackdown from 1/29/19, 2 days after the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Before we get into the Smackdown, we're going to talk about some of the information that we found on the internet and some of the rumors that have been out there.
One of these, well, I guess were two of them actually confirmed, like, within the last 2 days?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have two things that are actually confirmed, and we have one rumor that is going around. So the first one is that Dean Ambrose will, in fact, be leaving WWE after his contract expires. There was something put up today regarding he was going to leave due to the fact that he wasn't happy with storylines he'd been given recently, and he didn't feel that his character was, like, evolving enough. So he will be leaving WWE once his contract expires. People are saying that his contract will expire. It's set to expire in April, but if they don't have anything to do with his character, he might leave sooner than that. So that leads to, I guess, bigger and brighter things for him, whether he goes to AEW or if he just goes to, like, the independent circuit or what happens. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with him. Another thing that's been confirmed is Jeff Jarrett has been signed with WWE as a producer and is going to be on-air talent every once in a while.
Which explains why he's doing his stuff with Elias and why he showed up out of the blue, out of nowhere from the Royal Rumble this past weekend. It makes more sense now that he is signed as a producer and an on-air talent. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with him in the case of being on-air talent, you know.
I think him and Elias make a good partnership.
I do too. I do
it
too.
Does a lot of, and I just don't know how far you can go with it. But
yeah.
At least for now, it's a good storyline. I think it makes it interesting.
Because they're very similar characters, but they're from the different time frames.
Well,
they have, like, very similar characters with the music standpoint.
Well, and the one thing both of them do is they play to the crowd,
yeah.
and it gets a good pop from the crowd, and it makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
And then the third thing we have before we start talking about the SmackDown, and this kind of ties into the beginning of SmackDown, the rumors that Charlotte Flair will be added to the match with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey.
At WrestleMania.
Yeah, at WrestleMania. I hope it doesn't happen.
Me too. I really don't want to see it happen.
I just want to see a Becky Lynch-Ronda Rousey match.
I do too.
If they want to do Charlotte Flair, a storyline with Charlotte Flair later on, that's fine, but I just don't like the fact that I don't want a triple threat match.
I don't either.
And because I think you lose some of the pop from the having Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch going at it.
Well, a lot of people have already said that Becky Lynch is most likely going to win that match just due to the fact that, like, she's just going to win the match. Like, it's kind of being put out there. That's what a lot of people think is going to happen. And if Charlotte's in that match, you know, it's going to make Charlotte almost... I said it's going to make Charlotte almost look kind of, like, bad because she hasn't won any matches, you know, recently. And if going into WrestleMania she doesn't do so well as an in-ring competitor, oh my gosh, it's a mouthful, then if Becky Lynch does in fact win, it just puts something else on her shoulders as, like, bad reputation. No pun intended to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So that led into the beginning of SmackDown, where Becky Lynch comes out. There's a little intro about Becky Lynch, and then she comes out and starts to talk. And then you hear Charlotte Flair's music play. She comes out and congratulates Becky Lynch for...
Congratulations.
Yeah. For, you know, her win in the Rumble.
she talks about how proud she is of Becky and that Becky, deserves this. And the crowd was chanting, you deserve this. And she went on and on about that. And then at some point, Becky got tired of listening to her and she hit her right in the jaw. It was quite the punch, I will say.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, bam, and she would, like, hit the floor the minute her fist hit her jaw. And then Becky proceeded to leave the ring and walk up the ramp as her music played, and Charlotte came from behind and attacked her, which was kind of to be expected.
Well, the whole thing, I don't understand why she turned around and walked away, because when, you punch somebody,
you almost
expect them to come back after you, and so I don't understand why they had the storyline where she just turned and walked away and acted like nothing else happened.
Yeah.
And so, it didn't make sense with that part of the storyline.
So then, after they went up the ramp, Charlotte brought her back down. They went kind of around, like, the corner of the ring over by the steps, and they kind of duked it out for a minute until the officials came down and broke them apart. And then Charlotte went on to mock Becky because her knee started to bother her, and so she went on one foot and was kind of hobbling around, and so she made fun of her for that and mocked her.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Pretty much all they did with that. So then we have the Shinsuke Nakamura and the R-Truth match for the United States Championship. I like R-Truth. I like his character. I like what they do with his character. And I'm not a huge Shinsuke Nakamura fan. And so when this match was set and they came out, I thought for sure that it was going to be like an easy win for Nakamura and it'd be over pretty quick. Turns out that R-Truth ended up winning the match. I was shocked by it.
I was too. I was like, dude. And then you were like, what just happened? Because you, like, walked out of the room to grab a water or something real quick. And you came back and you, like, looked at it and was like, what just happened? And he won the match. And then they showed a replay and you were like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
like, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
Because it was for sure, like Nakamura was, like, going to win.
Well,
Because, it's very predictable for him.
I was hoping R-Truth would win the Rumble the other day, and he didn't even make it to the ring because of Nia Jax. So I figured for sure that when I saw this match, that Truth was going to lose. So then after he beat Nakamura, Rusev comes down to the ring and challenges R-Truth. Like, immediately, he wants a title shot.
He ended up saying that the U.S. Championship was never good enough for Nakamura, and it sure isn't good enough for you, Truth, so I want a match with you. And at first, R-Truth was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And then Lana and Carmella, they kind of got in each other's faces. And Carmella ended up pushing the injured Lana down. And then Rusev was going to try and, like, come after Carmella. And R-Truth was like, no, we're having a match. We're doing this. And so then he put his title on the line back to back from the match he just had.
Again, when this happened, I thought for sure this was going to be the shortest champion ever.
Yeah, what you said Rusev was going to win the match, and then Nakamura was going to come back down and beat Rusev for the championship and then get his title back.
Yeah, so
That's
and I thought, that they were going to try and twist it somehow, and you could always say, well, R-Truth was a champion, and it lasted all of 32 seconds. And so R-Truth ends up beating Rusev, which kind of shocked me about the whole thing. Then Nakamura comes back to the ring
and
attacks R-Truth.
And then Rusev gets in on the action and beats him up as well after the match. And then we were kind of left there with that.
My guess is because later on they did show Rusev and Nakamura in the back together.
They were talking to Gallows and Anderson.
I wonder if they're not going to make them a tag team.
Which could be a possibility because what happened backstage a little bit later on in the show was Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they kind of like got in Rusev's face and was like, dude, what you did to Truth was not cool. And they were like, you should get in the ring with us and wait until you see what we do to you. And then Nakamura came in and said something in like Japanese, I don't even know what he said. And then the two, Anderson and Gallows, they walked off, and Rusev looked at Nakamura and said, "A one-time thing, don't screw me over." So maybe next week we'll see a match with them as like a tag team.
Well, and this is part of why I don't like Nakamura, is because of, like, he came out and talked Japanese and nobody could understand what he was saying unless you speak Japanese. And so, I think that's part of what turns me off about him, is the fact that sometimes you just don't understand what he's saying and you have no clue. So the storyline, maybe the storyline is cool if you could understand Japanese, but me personally, I can't understand Japanese, so the storyline just doesn't fit with me with what he does sometimes, because you can't always understand what he's saying.
It also doesn't help that he wears like a huge mouth guard to the ring, and then when he tries to talk in the mic or whatever, you can't understand that.
Yeah, that probably has an effect too. So it makes it tough to.
It's
understand
all around
anyway.
it's hard to understand him.
Yes. So then we have
backstage.
Yes, backstage.
We have Becky, who is getting ready to leave the arena, and she gets stopped by one of their backstage interviewers, and she asked her, Becky Lynch wouldn't let the medical staff check out her leg, and the interviewer person was like, why wouldn't you let the medical staff check you out? And her simple answer was, because I don't want to be put on the shelf again. I don't want that to happen. And then she got in her car and she drove off.
So I see this as trying to put Becky over as the man again, and how tough she is, and she didn't accept medical help, and so this makes her look tougher and stronger, and she's willing to walk around on this bad ankle and fight with it and everything else. So they're trying to build her back after what happened at Rumble, losing on a tap out to Asuka.
And that's what she talked about in the beginning, when she said, Rumble didn't go my way to begin with, but then look what I did. I came out and I took advantage of the circumstances, and I went and I beat the other women that were in the ring, and I won the Rumble. And now I'm going to fight Rousey, and I'm going to break her arm. And whether she gets up and walks out of the ring, or she is taken out by medical care, I will be the one leaving the arena with the women's championship. So she kind of just left it all out in the ring. Yep,
and then she gets in a vehicle and drives
away.
Then we're supposed to have Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't to me either, until they showed a replay of last week, where Rey Mysterio and Andrade had a match, and Samoa Joe got involved, and then I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense why they're doing this, but Rey Mysterio is a cruiserweight and Samoa Joe is a heavyweight, so I don't understand why they're putting them together in the first place, because Samoa Joe is like going to come out on top because he's the bigger of the two. You know what I mean?
Well, in theory, he's going to, and
that would make the most sense to me.
I just don't understand, what they were planning on doing. However, it didn't happen because Andrade comes out after Zelina Vega talks to Rey about Andrade.
How Andrade didn't beat him last week.
Yes. And so it distracted him long enough that Andrade comes down to the ring.
Andre the Giant came out to the ring.
came back from the dead, and so Andrade comes down to the ring and attacks Rey. There wasn't a whole lot with it.
No.
They fought each other.
And then Rey was left in the ring.
Yeah.
To sit there.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot with that.
So the match never happens.
No.
Then we go to then we get to The Miz and Shane McMahon.
Mm-hmm. And their tag team celebration.
They're reminiscing, Shane talks about, hey, I got something I'm going to show you. And I thought for sure this is where he was going to start to turn on him and talk about how good Shane was and all this stuff. And
that's what I thought the video was going to be too. I said it's going to be the video of the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and that's what I thought for sure.
That's what I thought
it was going to be because I think eventually what's going to happen is Shane McMahon's going to turn on The Miz, or The Miz is going to turn on Shane McMahon, and then they're going to have a match at WrestleMania. I don't even think they're going to make it to WrestleMania before they're fighting each other. So they show this video reminiscing about, the Miz and
how they got
all this
started as a
stuff,
tag
and
team
and how they, and all the way up to when they won the titles. And then Shane McMahon states that, hey, I got one more thing for you. Your dad is here, and he has his dad come down to the ring. And Miz talks about how his dad had never seemed to appreciate him, and
never told him that he was proud of him or whatever for what he'd done in the WWE.
So when the Miz's dad's coming to the ring, Corey Graves makes a comment about his dad being a crappy dad for the last 30 years since he never said anything about
he said,
how he's appreciated.
Why are we doing this now? You guys can't do this backstage. You guys can't do this on your own time. You got to bring him out here. This guy, he's been a crappy dad for 30 years, so why should he care now? And it was the funniest thing. Like, he hunched over laughing.
Yeah, it was good. It was funny.
It was really funny. So
I thought it was a good segment.
It was. It was so much better with Corey Graves' commentary.
It was.
It was so much better. So it was a funny. That portion of it was pretty funny. But then we move on to backstage. We have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and they're getting interviewed, and Mandy Rose is talking all about Naomi and their feud and everything, and then they announce that they are going to be in the Elimination Chamber match for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and what I don't get is they didn't even have a match. Like, I guess it's because they just don't have enough tag teams to have a match, but, like, Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss and Mickie James and Natalya and Dana Brooke and I don't even remember who they faced last night.
Well, I think they have the same issue that the guys have. There's not a lot of tag teams there.
There aren't.
And so why they're doing this tag team championship thing is beyond me, unless they start to put some teams together, because the whole idea behind this would be, you want to be the best tag team there is. But if there's only 3 tag teams in the entire, between SmackDown, Raw, and then even NXT, there's only, a couple
a few
tag teams.
2 off the top of my head I can think of right now.
So if they don't, I just don't understand having a women's tag team division when you don't have enough tag teams.
Yeah, something I was thinking about, and this would only be for like a one-time thing, or maybe 2 times or whatever, like at WrestleMania, but like the Bella Twins, they were a tag team, and like maybe they would return to join this tournament, maybe not, I don't even know. And then another one that was thrown around on the internet that I know a lot of people had talked about and said would be cool to see was Trish Stratus and Lita, Team Bestie, and so that's another one that people had like said, oh, this would be so cool for them to be involved.
Well, the problem with that is if you're only going to bring them back for one time,
exactly,
you don't have enough interest. It doesn't keep interest in the tag team division beyond the Elimination Chamber match. Outside of that, what's the point? Why are they doing this unless they plan on bringing more teams in and working with more teams, or having these individuals, like Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose team up and actually be a tag team? I don't see the point in having this tag team tournament.
I think
elimination match.
Part of the thing was like a lot of people had wanted a women's tag team division for such a long time, and then they finally just made it a thing. But it's at a really bad time because you don't have like the women in WWE like you had. You don't have the Bella Twins anymore, like they used to be in wrestling, like all the time on every weekly show or whatever. You don't have them anymore because of one reason or another. They're off doing business ventures and things. And so, it just doesn't make sense to me, I guess, why they're doing it now. It would have been better to do it, like, before, when there were more women's tag team divisions.
Hi, Luis. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute, so give us a second. We'll talk about the new championship made of hemp. So back, kind of back to what we were talking about with the tag teams. You have the men's tag teams division has nothing in it, really.
And
it seems like the only 4 teams they have, they used in the match tonight. Yeah.
Which is to decide who is going to face Miz and Shane next for the championships, and we had the Usos versus the Bar, who were just the champions, Heavy Machinery, and New Day. And 3 out of the 4 of them have already been champions in the main roster. So you're running out of options for who's going to do it. New Day was eliminated first by Heavy Machinery, and then Heavy Machinery was eliminated by the Bar, and then the Bar was eliminated by the Usos, and then they went to win the match. You know, it wasn't a super entertaining match. It was a 4 corners match, or whatever you call it. You know, it was just something they had to do for, like, filler before they got to the Daniel Bryan stuff, I guess, to kind of decide who was going to face
so I
him
mean,
next.
I didn't understand the whole, I had an idea that it was going to be the Usos the whole time. Wasn't a big entertaining match.
I would have loved to see Heavy Machinery, because they're the new guys, and, like, they should go for the titles, because, like, they're the ones who are, like, fresh meat, see what they can do. But, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I agree.
We're going to go with, the same old champions that we've had for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So...
So, to answer your question, Luis, what I thought of the whole hemp tag or hemp championship belt, I wish they would stick to the leather belt. I agree with you 100%.
It looks like it's made of cardboard.
That's what you said when it first came out. Look at that, it's made out of cardboard. And I was like, no, that's made out of hemp. I said, that's made out of... But I had seen earlier on somewhere on the internet where they talked about it, and that Daniel Bryan was going to bring this in, and that he was going to have this new belt made and have it for tonight. Yeah. So I kind of had an idea they were going to do this. I do wish they would just stick with the leather one. But
I think the leather one just looks better.
Yeah,
more appealing.
It does. And like you said, it looks like when
you
first saw it, you thought it was cardboard.
And it was so funny. It was so funny. My little brother, he was in the room, and he goes, "That looks like something that I would make and, like, hang up on my wall when I'm, like, a kid who's a super big WWE fan." And I'm like, you have a point, because it does.
Yeah. So, I don't like the new hemp belt at all.
I don't either. I think it just looks weird, and it's not what you're used to. And, like, I mean, it goes with the whole Daniel Bryan storyline, but, like...
Yeah, I think they've kind of went overboard with this, with the changing the belt and everything.
I think so, too.
And so I don't like it. I hope they bring the leather belt back soon. Hopefully Daniel Bryan gets beat and they bring the leather back, like, immediately.
So, like, essentially what happened, John Cena will become a 17-time champion soon. Yeah, probably. He'll come back at, WrestleMania or something, because the Elimination Chamber match has already been made, and he'll be like, "I'm champ!" And so it'll be great.
I love when they come out and they talk about someone being a 17-time champion, but that means they had to have lost the belt like 16 times. So I'm 17-time champion and I've lost it 16 times. So
yeah, woohoo! But essentially, like, the whole gist of it was, like, Daniel Bryan came out. He talked about being the Planet champion. Then Bryan went to introduce Eric Rowan, and he said that, he understands, he understands me, and we think the same way. And he goes on to say that, he sees right through all of the crowd and AJ Styles. And then he said that AJ Styles said I was a hypocrite. Well, you know what? I am a hypocrite. And then he looked at his title, and then Eric Rowan pulled out Eric Rowan pulled out the trash can from beside the ring, and he put it in the ring, and I was like, oh, great, I know where this is going. We're going to throw the title away, and that's what you said. You said they're going to bring out the new championship belt. Woohoo! So then he ended up throwing the title away, and AJ Styles came out and was like, you think I'm going to stand back there and, like, let you, just watch you throw the championship away? Nuh-uh, buddy boy. And then that led to, like, 50 other competitors coming out to the ring.
Which brings me to, Luis, I see you talking about John Cena being Daniel. I think Cena's too involved with other things going on right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's actually going to be at WrestleMania. However, I do think that you could see Randy Orton beating Daniel Bryan for the title.
So the guys that actually came out to the ring, we had AJ Styles, and then we had Randy Orton, and then we had Mustafa Ali, who I was kind of like, what? Why did we bring him out? And then we had Jeff Hardy, and then we had Samoa Joe. And then Triple H came up on the screen, and he said, he announced that Bryan will face all the competitors at Elimination Chamber in the coming couple of weeks when we have that pay-per-view.
So you might not even see... You may see Daniel Bryan losing at the Elimination Chamber to, like, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So you might not even see Daniel Bryan being champion at Mania. And again, it just depends on how much John Cena really plans on sticking with the movies and the entertainment thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. At the moment, I'm almost like... I feel like, you know, I'm as big of a John Cena fan as the next guy, but... I almost feel like he might start to kind of fade away from the wrestling stuff just because he is such a big, like, Hollywood star now. Like, it's exactly like what happened to The Rock, you know? The Rock was there, and then he started to disappear and fade out, and they stopped using him in storylines, and then, he became a super big, you know, movie star. And he came back every once in a while, every couple of years, you know, at WrestleMania or whatever, and did something with somebody. And it was like a one-time thing. And then you wouldn't see him again until, like, maybe the next year, if he had time to do the whole WrestleMania thing. So I think that might be where John Cena's headed, but, like, I know that would upset a lot of people just because they are such big John Cena fans, and, you know, so... It just kind of depends on what he's doing and how many movie offers he gets, I guess.
Well, and I think that's a lot of it is you're gonna have to wait and see what his whole, because right now I think he's too involved in movies and
I do too.
is enjoying that, which is why I think they ended up having him get hurt to have him miss the Rumble
because he has to go film his movies and stuff.
So I don't know. I don't know if they would plan on having him come back and win the title. Take it, and I don't even know if Daniel Bryan will be the champion when it comes to when they get to WrestleMania, because I think Randy Orton
has a really good shot. Out of all those guys, I would definitely say Randy Orton and or Samoa Joe. I'm almost leaning more towards Orton just because, you know, he has won more titles. He has more experience over Joe, and he has been in Elimination Chamber match before. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with these storylines.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
So I'd love to see Cena, but I just don't see it happening just because, you know, like I said, of
the movie stuff,
the movies and the other entertainment stuff that he's involved in
that isn't just WWE anymore.
So, you know, I mean, if you have other thoughts, Louise, let us know. That's just what we believe will happen. Or at least I believe that's what's going to happen.
I'm pretty much along the same. I'm pretty much along the same lines. He's just getting really big for being in like WWE anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So.
And it'll be interesting to see where they go from tonight. I thought tonight was a decent.
I did too.
Smackdown.
I thought it was actually a better SmackDown than what we've had in a while. Last week's SmackDown, I feel like it's a couple steps up. From last week. Again, like I've said in the last couple streams, I really love everything they've done with Becky over the last few weeks. You know, with everything, given the circumstances, with everything that they did with Asuka at WrestleMania, I feel like she is coming back from it fairly well. Like, they're working her out of it pretty well. And curious to see where the stuff with Charlotte Flair goes. Hopefully they don't involve her in the WrestleMania match. I personally would not like to see that. I don't want to see it. I think it's too much. Just leave it at Rousey and Lynch, because, you know, we've seen Rousey and Flair.
Well, I think Lynch and Rousey right now just makes the better storyline.
It just makes more sense.
So I think that they need to stick with that.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought this SmackDown was better than Raw last night. I thought that the storylines, you could follow the storylines a little more.
Yeah.
They're kind of creating things going towards WrestleMania.
Now, mind you, we still have 2 pay-per-views in between. We have Elimination Chamber in like 4 weeks, and then after that we have Fastlane in March.
Yeah, a lot could still happen between now and WrestleMania.
I don't know why they do 2 pay-per-views in between.
I don't either. I would like to see them just cut out one of them and just have one between the Rumble and WrestleMania.
They used to just have Elimination Chamber, and Elimination Chamber would happen somewhere between like the last week of February or the first week of March, and then you work between there, and then from like March to like the beginning of April would be when we'd see WrestleMania. But I don't know. Since they added in like Fastlane, I just don't know why they do it, because it takes more time to it takes more time away from building up the storylines for WrestleMania. And you have to work on these other things to where, somebody could lose a championship here at Elimination Chamber. Somebody could lose a championship here at Fastlane. So, it almost, I don't know. I just don't like 2 pay-per-views in between.
And I don't know what they're going to do with it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's a way for them to try and draw up more business and more money and stuff, so that's why they do it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because they need 12 pay-per-views in a year, and they just happen to have it right before Mania.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that 12's a big deal. I mean, they could do something different. They could have like an NXT pay-per-view or something that's big, in between the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania.
Or they could just flat out move it from being in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania and put it somewhere else, because there are, I think, between TLC and whatever the other one is.
Well, but I think the big thing is they're looking to do one every month. So
yeah.
That's where the issue is. If you have any comments about our stream here, let us know. If you have any questions, let us know. If you like what you see, give us thumbs up. If you don't like, give us thumb down. Be specific with your comments. If you can, whether you give us thumbs up or thumbs down, leave us a message so we know what we need to do to fix what we're doing here. I hope you enjoyed it.
I know I sure did.
Make sure you subscribe if you like us, because that way you know when we're going to be streaming.
Then you know when we're streaming.
We definitely will be back tomorrow night for NXT.
I'm really excited for tomorrow. They have a women's tag team match that I'm quite interested in seeing. Not anything for the championships, but it'd be neat if both of these teams happen to be involved in it, maybe. Yes, definitely. So we'll see what happens. If you don't have WWE Network, get it. We're not being paid by WWE Network to talk about this. If you don't have it and you love wrestling, get it, because there's a lot of old matches on there. I've enjoyed it because that's kind of what I liked watching. I grew up watching Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior and Ricky Steamboat and some of those guys. So I love it because I get to watch some of the old stuff. I like watching the old stuff too.
And then, just recently I started watching Raw and Smackdown again, and started watching NXT here in the last week and a half to kind of get caught up on that, because she asked me to do a show with her, so this is where we're at. I think everything's going pretty well, though. All things given, you pick things up pretty quickly. Well, it's not hard. I mean, WWE storylines, some of them are not real good, so
well, no,
it's easy to follow,
along the lines of
trying
to remember who's who. You've done a pretty good job with that.
That's the biggest thing, is just trying to remember who's who, who's done what. Anyway, we're going to take off. We'll be back tomorrow night. Right after NXT. NXT's.